So when I fly to US, I usually fly by Doha or Dubai. And this is the first time I'm actually flying through Abu Dhabi using Etihad. I thought I'll share my experience here for those who are considering using Etihad and flying through Abu Dhabi. The flight from Cochin was about 20 minutes late. The flight itself was okay, but it was uneventful. I felt the flight from Kochi to Abu Dhabi, it was a little bit cramped and not much space. Of course, I'm talking about economic class. Now, things started to be a little bit different in Abu Dhabi. Um, it was very busy airport, and it was fairly big too. However, compared to Dubai, everything took a little bit more time. There was delays in security clearance. There were two security clearances. One is when you transit into the airport, before you can get into the gates, there's a security check, and it took about 15 minutes to half an hour to finish that security check. They make you take out your shoes, take out your belts, and the usual scenario. And then after you get into the airport, and when you go to the US gates, when to your designated gates for the next flight, there is another security check, and you go through the same thing again. Again, you have to take out everything and stand in lines. The lines are huge, and you have to stand in line for 15 minutes to half an hour. I think that's the plane are getting into Chicago. The flight is delayed by another 2 hours. It's supposed to go at 9:50. Now the boarding time is 12:15. So I guess it's just a waiting game now. Now, after you finish the second security check, you have to go through US pre-clearance, and this is basically a US immigration that you're doing right there in Abu Dhabi. The advantage is that when you land in US, you can just, there's no immigration anymore. You can just walk out of the airport, collect your baggage, and so on. So the immigration happens right there in Abu Dhabi. I think this is the only country, maybe outside of Canada, where this happens. Now, if you travel to US from Canada through any of the airports, say for example, if you're flying from Toronto or Halifax to US, you will notice that the immigration is done right there in the Canadian airport. And when you land in the US, you just walk out. There's no immigration there. It's the same thing that happens in Abu Dhabi. It doesn't happen in, at least in my experience, it has not happened in Dubai or Doha. So this was my first experience doing the immigration pre-clearance right here in an airport in Asia before going to the US. It took a long time. It took about half an hour for the entire immigration to have entire US immigration to finish. And once I was inside the gates, it was announced that the flight is going to be 2 hours delayed, and we had to wait in the gate area because you could not leave out to the general area, the shopping area, because you already finished the immigration. Now you cannot leave. So you were stuck within that area. Flight itself was okay. It was comfortable. It was not full. The food was good, and I think the staff were friendly and helpful. The flight itself was uneventful. I think the pilot kind of caught up on the lost time, and when we landed, it was about just an hour or so late than the scheduled time, so it was not too bad. Prior to descent into Chicago, we'll come back to you with the latest weather update as well as the time of arrival. Until then, sit back, relax, and enjoy this flight. Once again, welcome aboard. So overall, the things that you should consider if you're considering flying at Etihad, traveling to the US, is you need to have enough transit time in Abu Dhabi, because there is 2 security clearances and immigration that happens in Abu Dhabi, and it takes a fairly long amount of time. So if you cannot stand and walk, I mean, if you are an elderly person and don't want to spend too much time on your feet, standing on long queues, then you probably should skip Etihad and go through Dubai or Doha. That's what I would recommend. But in terms of the flight itself, it was fine.